Hello everyone, this is Jim Kozak from DRG's GIS-IT department. In today's video, we'll show you how to customize your site, call, and work data grids. The term data grid refers to the section of the TreeKeeper interface that is access to view the results of a map selected set or a data-driven query. To access the data grid, simply expand the grid section which is located at the lower right of the screen. As I expand the grid, I can view a spreadsheet-like representation of the selected data that is separated by tabs that contain site, call, work record, and work order information. To reduce any confusion, we can just refer to this section as the grid for short and specify which tab on the grid we're working with. The Site tab, the Call tab, the Work tab, and the Work Order tab. Let's look at some high-level grid functionality. You can raise or lower the grid. You can undock the grid. This is a great way to view data in one screen and the map on another. Note that the same functionality exists while the grid is undocked. For example, I can still pin sites in the grid and the corresponding site will be centered and highlighted on the map, just like when it's docked. And redock the grid. Let's take a moment to look at some basic grid features. The grid menu, the Action Tools menu, and how to select or deselect data in the grid. The grid menu. From here you can customize your grid or restore the default grid layout, more on this in a minute, clear sorts and filters, and export data in a variety of formats. Next is the Tools menu. The tools in this menu work in conjunction with selected data from the grid. Using the Record Select column, you can queue sites for some type of action. You can select individual records from the grid. You can select multiple records in the grid. You can select all records or deselect all records, as well as selecting all and deselecting certain records. Notice that the Count and Queued section will display the number of records in the grid along with the number of records queued for some action. It's important to note also the Items per Page section. It's set by default to show 10,000 records. However, if your search has rendered more than 10,000 records and you want to work with all of them as one set, remember to select All from the menu. The available actions to apply to the selected records are as follows: deselecting or removing sites from the grid, toggling filter tools, printing, global or batch edits, applying a rule, adding work records, and adding calls. Selecting an action or tool will apply that action across all of the selected or queued sites. Next, let's take a look at how to customize your grid. Using the Grid menu in the upper right-hand corner of the grid window. First, think of your TreeKeeper grid as a customizable workspace. There is a default grid layout which is set when each system is built. They're generally all the same. The good news is that you can customize your grid to contain the information that you want to see or the info that might best fit the task you're doing that day. Also, customizing your grid will not affect the way any other user in your system sees their grid. The columns in the grid represent your data attributes or fields and correspond to the selected fields in this menu. As I scroll down, I can see that the fields that are currently visible in my grid have check marks next to them, while fields that are available but not currently visible have X's. If I wanted to add fields to my grid, I can simply select the fields that I want to add, and it will then appear in my grid. Once you have added the fields that you want to your grid, don't forget to take the step of saving your grid layout. Selecting Save Grid Layout will make sure that that new field that you added will remain in your grid. You can also move fields to reorder the grid by dragging and dropping them to this desired location. Again, don't forget to save your grid layout. All of the basic grid features and functionality that we've covered here using the Site tab applies to the call, work record, and work order grid layouts as well. A few additional details. Selecting the Filter tool will allow you to access a distinct set of choices for each field and refine your set even further. At the bottom of any numeric field column, you can toggle between total and average. You can also adjust the width of any column. Here you can also access a drop-down menu for each individual column that will allow you to sort ascending or descending, hide the column, or pin the column left or right. When you sort on a column and you sort on a second column, the second column adds to the sort order rather than replacing it. The number to the right of the field name displays the order. Accessing the same menu allows you to remove the sort. There's a shortcut in the grid menu for removing all sorts. Whether you're working with site data, call data, or work data, an understanding of the grid's tools and features are key to being productive and can save you tons of time when used properly. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have a topic that you would like to see covered in a TreeKeeper video tutorial, please email us and let us know. We plan to release additional videos as new functionality is added to the system, so check back frequently. Thanks, and have a great day.